This is Eagle Owl, and today we will be talking about DeVonta Smith almost caught slipping. The media tried to catch my guy slipping, but we're going to talk about that. Also, Jahan Dotson, big opportunity. And lastly, we got to talk about James Bradberry being hurt, what happened, and all the news that came out after him being quote unquote hurt. But let's get straight into it. All right, man. So let's hop straight into it. Let's talk about James Bradberry, man. James Bradberry's hurt. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And you know what the Eagles did? Place him on the IR. And if he's really hurt, prayers up for him. Same as every player, 6 to 8 weeks. But this is a leg injury that don't require no surgery. Something that happened during practice the other day. It wasn't reported that he got hurt or anything. We just happened to say he got hurt. Okay, so that means a roster spot is open. What do the Eagles do? Surprisingly, they elevated Oren Burks. And now we got, 6 linebackers on the active roster. I think Oren Burks is more like the special teams guy. That's why they wanted him on the roster. But I thought they probably would have elevated like another tight end or even maybe another wide receiver with Johnny Wilson dealing with the concussion. And then Dallas Goedert. Come on, Dallas Goedert. He's dealing with an injury. I heard Isaiah Rodgers was out too. So there was a couple guys out for his practice dealing with some injuries. Heard they all minor, but Dallas Goedert been dealing with this oblique injuries since mid-August. So hopefully it's nothing serious because we need him Friday. And I don't want to go too in on Dallas Goedert because the facts are the facts. The only time he missed time was due to like dirty hits, the one against Dallas and the one against Washington. This one, I don't know what happened, but this oblique injury got him sitting out. And then also Jalen Hunt was the other guy that's hurt too. So hopefully all these guys recover. I'm not going to call him Mr. Glass, Dallas Goedert yet, but he's dealing with some injury. So I was surprised they elevated over in Burks over like a tight end or a wide receiver. But another move happened because now that means there's an open practice squad spot. Even though with over in Burt's moving, we still had about 4 spots because we don't have 17 guys. We only have 14. But the Eagles, they had a meeting with Brad Toth, and all of a sudden he's on the practice squad. So you got James Bradberry on IR, you move up over in Burt's, and now you got Brett Toth on the practice squad. And I'm like, okay, the Eagles probably ain't gonna make no more moves after this. And then I seen that the Raiders cut what 3rd round pick from last year. He was going into his second year. His first year wasn't that good, but he was going into his second. Hopefully he could have improved. But that's Byron Young. Byron Young, defensive tackle. Wasn't that great. We're gonna go over the numbers. Actually, let's go over the numbers right now. So his rookie year, which was last year, he had 4 tackles through 6 games. Only 4 tackles through 6 games. So he didn't really get that much playing time. His PFF grade was a 45.6, which is not good at all. His run defense was a 45.1, which is not good. Mind you, these are 6 games, so he don't have a big sample size. His tackling grade was a 70.6, so he was below average, and the Raiders completely gave up on him, and Eagles scooped him up. But he did make the initial 53-man roster, and a lot of people from the Raiders were shocked that he was cut because he had a good preseason. He had a good training camp, and the Raiders was like, you know what? We're gonna let you go after year one, going into year two. So one, what we're banking on is that the Raiders made a huge mistake, and that he is ready. And two, hopefully he's better than Marlon T, because after we signed him, we released Marlon T. Now Marlon T might not get claimed. Put him on the practice squad. And Howie Roseman did say, like, I'm trying to make this team better inch by inch. Like, he wants this team just to be phenomenal. Like, he don't want any hiccups. Like, he viewed Byron Young better than Marlon T. He think that's an upgrade there. Small upgrade, but it's an upgrade. So what Howie's trying to do is upgrade every single position as much as he can. And honestly, he can be. He definitely can be an upgrade if he can live up to the potential. But Fran Duffy explained to him or how the Raiders viewed him. But let's go over what Fran Duffy had to say. Graded Byron Young as a rotational backup coming out of Alabama in 2023. He said, technically sound college player, not explosive enough to be a dynamic three tech, not stout enough to be a true nose, a bit undersized for a traditional five tech, but enough tools to be a spot backup for all three spots. So he can do it all. He like a jacks of all trade, but he's not great at one thing. It could be because of size, stout, like how Fran Duffy explained it. So he's a solid backup if he had to come in. So I know a lot of people was comparing him to like maybe he could be like a Milton Williams, but I think Milton Williams is better than this guy because Milton Williams is dynamic. Like you don't get that from Byron Young, and he was showing flashes of it. Like preseason, he did have his like sack, like 3 tackles and something like 4 tackles for a loss or something like that. Like preseason, he was showing he could be the guy. But again, unfortunately, the Raiders gave up on him and the Eagles scooped him up just like that. But he could be a really good rotational guy. We're not asking him to start anything. We're asking him to be a rotational guy. Are you better than somebody on our roster, which Howie Roseman believe he is? So that's the new guy in Philadelphia. All right. Let's talk about Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson. I'm with AJ Brown. I'm gonna go over the clip. AJ Brown said something in the matter of this is a big opportunity for him because people worry about him, people worry about Smitty. You got all these dynamic guys, and he can really flourish in his role. But let's listen to what AJ Brown had to say.
Attention do you guys get, and how much of an opportunity is that potentially for Jahan?
He has a big opportunity in front of him. I'm not going to put too much on his plate, but he does. And I can tell you guys when I line up, I know they're yelling out 11 in the slot, 11 outside, and most of the time I'm getting coverage rotated to me, most importantly. And, Smitty has his one-on-one matchups, and I don't know how they do with Smitty, so I don't really speak for myself, but I know they account for Smitty as well. So when you look up, I ain't gonna say you're not really worried about them, but they're probably not gonna put their best guy over there.
They can only do so much.
They only can do so much, and it's very rare that certain teams probably have three really really good DBs, and so he has a big opportunity in front of him to he has mismatches all day, and I hope he maximizes those mismatches.
This is a big opportunity for him. No ifs, ands, or buts about this. This is a huge opportunity for him to show he's that dude. And he could be here for a long time because he's on a rookie deal. Now, if he show he can play, Howie will find a way to pay him. He really would. And he'd be embraced and loved because he's basically from the city of Philadelphia. He's from the Lehigh Valley part of PA, but the Lehigh Valley part are huge Eagles fans. So I'm pretty sure he grew up an Eagles fan. He get to play for one of the teams he probably loved growing up and really show I'm that guy. I can play. So I'm with AJ. Jahan Dotson, this is a huge opportunity to show that you that guy, one, and two, Washington made a mistake. I don't know what's up with these teams giving up on their young guys, like even the Byron Young guy. Year 2, you give up. Jahan Dotson, year 3, you give up a first-round pick. And then Raiders gave up on the 3rd-round pick. This is crazy. But Jahan Dotson proved these dudes wrong. And they also grilled my guy Smitty about Jahan Dotson. It was like, he was at that softball game, right? Smitty like, yeah, he was. And, Saquon was there too, right? I know Smitty was like, I see what y'all trying to do. Actually, let me play the clip.
How did that come about, and did you get to know him well?
Knowing that he was from the area, I feel like that was a big part of it. Him being from the area, just inviting somebody that's been around there, somebody that has ties to it.
With 3 softball games there, are you now an honorary Lehigh Valley guy, in addition to Saquon and Jahan?
Yeah, for sure.
What's your
Y'all gotta chill, cause if Smitty was on that type of time, who y'all work for, bruh? If Smitty was on that type of time, y'all gotta keep that on the hush hush. Smitty recruiting Saquon, let him get Saquon. He's recruiting Jahan Dotson, let him get Jahan Dotson. But in all seriousness, though, I think those dudes are probably on the softball team because they from the area. Like Jahan Dotson is from that area, and then Saquon is from that area, and it was just I think it was just ironic. Washington was ready to give up on Jahan Dotson, gave him a chance, and then the Giants just gave up on Saquon, and Eagles had the money. He gave us a chance, so I think it's one of those things. I don't think Smitty is in the ear. He probably say like, you're loving in Philly, but I don't think he's recruiting to the point like he's tampering. I don't think Smitty don't do those type of things. He don't tamper. They just go and play softball. That's what they do. Like we don't tamper. We don't do any of that stuff. But I'll be looking out for some players that's at the softball game. Just saying. I'm just saying. I don't think Smitty tamper, but it's always good to come to Philly. What do you think? How do you feel about the news today? The James Bradberry injury and all the moves we made. Also, Byron Young. How do we feel about him? Is he a bust? Will Jahan Dotson live up to the name and do his thing? We'll see. But this is Eagle Al, man. I'm a